Well, hello, my name is David Wagner, and I have the privilege of being the trip leader for our upcoming Choosing Party Vision trip to Uganda in a little over a month. I'm so excited for it. Now, prior to joining this amazing team at World Vision, I was a pastor for nearly 20 years, and I've been on multiple missions trips, but two of those were vision trips with World Vision. In 2015, I got to go and visit my sponsor child in her home community of Shoshogo, Ethiopia. I got to witness firsthand the power of transformation. I remember just this overwhelming sense of God's Spirit marked by two things. The first was just joy. It's joy when we see the transformation that accompanies these movements and this work. And the second was that this is a good thing, that this is the goodness of God enacted in my midst. And this vision trip we're about to take is no exception. You firsthand are going to witness the goodness of God as these children choose your people from your church. It's going to be an incredible, incredible moment and experience. Well, I wanted to send out this video so that you could see me, get to know me a little bit, but then also that I could communicate two very critical pieces of information. You know, at this point, our registrations and background checks are done, and so we have to shift our focus to two things. The first is vaccinations. Now, World Vision doesn't require any vaccinations for a vision trip. However, the country of Uganda does, and that requirement is yellow fever. And so I would encourage you to get that vaccination, if you haven't done so already, done, because when we travel, you're going to need this with you. This is the yellow card that lists out that you have the yellow fever vaccination, that you're up to date. Now, you can check that box and say you're going to do it later, but here's the thing. I would want to have that working through my system now, but then also the last thing we want is for one of us to get pulled while we're at customs in Uganda and getting the yellow fever shot then and there before you're allowed into the country. It's just a safer option for us to get it here while we're in our home country, the US of A. Now, as of today, September 15th, a COVID vaccination is not required for entry. However, a negative test, 72-hour negative test, is required if you don't have that proof of COVID vaccination, if that makes sense. Now, in our country, you can have a picture of the COVID card and that's enough for it, but I don't think that's gonna work in Uganda. So in addition to your yellow card, I would make sure that you have on hand your up-to-date booster information for the COVID vaccination and that you keep that with your passport at all times. Or, of course, if you are not comfortable with the COVID vaccination, to have that negative test within 72 hours of travel. The second critical point of information is this. In the coming weeks, you're going to be getting information points from me, either an email or a text message that say urgent. Pastor, it's really critical that you respond to me by the end of day. We're going to be securing flights at this juncture, and those are constantly changing. And so we're going to send you flight information. We're going to need you to green light before we can purchase those flights. And so I just would say thank you for that in advance, for your responsiveness. Now, next week, we're going to get together. We're going to have our first trip meeting. We're going to go over the agenda. We're going to talk about more in depth of what we're going to experience and some of the expectations. But in the meantime, let's be covered in prayer for this amazing moment of chosen, as these children, the most vulnerable in Uganda, are going to choose us and those from your community. Thanks for your time. God bless.